Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Graybeards. My name's Wayne, and to my left over here is my good friend Bug.
What's up, Wayne?
Whew, I can barely
You
hear you,
got me.
bro.
You can't hear me. What
I
the
can
heck is
barely
up?
hear you.
I don't know what's wrong. Let me unplug some stuff. Any better?
Yeah,
Anything
I mean,
change?
I can hear you, but maybe it's just the way it is. I don't know.
I have I have my PlayStation plugged up this thing, but it's unplugged now. Hopefully, the listening
Yeah,
audience can hear me.
we have to get the headsets on and the mic. You know,
Yeah.
look all official and everything.
Hey, Chuck, this is Ernest here. I'm live in Kentucky, and the Wildcats has just had a devastating loss, and we're trying to rebound from that situation. It's critical here. Back to you, Ann.
Yeah, that'll do it. It's still it's still it's gonna be funny. Yeah. But
Hey, what is that in the background? What am I seeing right there? I see something
I took a
shapely
picture.
glass.
I took a picture of that. I can't remember where I was.
Looks like something from Vegas.
It might have been, yeah, Cowgirl up Cantina. We didn't
Uh-huh.
go in there. I just saw the picture of Cowgirl for you.
Uh-huh. It's a good thing I
We
didn't wear my
tease you.
cowboy hat.
Yeah, we tease you about being a Cowgirls fan. So
Hmm.
yeah, which is in turmoil. This I'm a Steelers fan. For those who want to, hate on me, that's fine. But the man, I tell you what, it's going to be an interesting year this year.
Hmm.
But I have faith in old Mike Tomlin. I think he's a great coach. A
Right.
lot of people are saying he's past his, time or what have you. I don't understand that. Right? They have they make the playoffs, right? They don't go very far for whatever
Mhm.
reason. Um,
So you can't win the Super Bowl all the time. You know what I'm
no,
saying? You can't, you got what, six Super Bowl wins, most
two
in
losses,
NFL.
6-2, I believe they are. That's a pretty
Yeah,
good record if you ask me.
it's good. Yeah, you can't win them all.
Not, it'd be
You
great
got,
if they did because they'd have eight, but that ain't the case.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like I like to equate everything to vehicles. I know people that have had, Fords and Dodges and Chevrolets, whatever, that have lasted them for decades and with minimal issues. And I've known people that have had all three of them and had nothing but problems with each one. So
Thanks.
it is a lot of people got to look in their own porch. You know what I mean? Look in their own backyard.
No. No. Can you see this? Can I,
No,
is it sure? It's not. Dang it.
no,
Okay, I got to show it in
there it
front of
is.
me.
There it is. Yeah, that was your
Can
dad's
you?
truck, wasn't it?
No, no, it's not his. It's I ran into this guy yesterday,
Yeah.
doing yards, and he was like, I said, "Hey man, that's a good looking truck. It looked good. It looked like it's mint condition. I think it's maybe a '90s. You would know better than me." And I was looking at it,
Yeah, it's
and
probably like
but
a 96, 97. Just from a
yeah,
little bit I looked at it. It's that year, it's in that body style.
yeah, it's a nice truck. It's a Ford, and he want 3,500, which is a little bit rich for my taste. But he wanted 3,500. I was thinking about Phil when I saw it. He's
Yeah.
thinking about buying a new truck or
He's
whatever,
gonna buy a
whatever.
new truck. He'll buy a new truck. Even though he won't watch the episode, we can talk about Phil.
Hmm.
He's he was under your tutelage for how many years did he work with you?
I think he did 4.5, man, and then he decided to sprout his wings and do his own thing. Sound like he's
Yeah.
doing pretty good.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what I'm saying?
he's burning a candle at both ends, right?
He is. He is.
But
I see that. I've been there.
yeah, we've all
I've
been
been.
there,
Yeah. Hmm.
But you
Yeah.
you know you a lot of companies, we say companies, they grow too fast, right? And they build this huge clientele, and
Mhm.
they struggle to maintain it, right?
Right.
And you end up getting in that burnout stage, right?
Yeah. I've done that about 6 times.
Well,
Them three
yeah, we've
classes.
all, you know, I'm living that right now with all my projects that I have stacked up. You know, I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to get them all done, you know, into my advanced age. It's
Right.
creeping up on me as you so alluded yesterday, you know, earlier when we were talking, you know,
Yeah.
how many
Mm-hmm.
yards you had to do on
Yeah.
Saturday and you ended up, you know,
I
telling
had
me it's
10.
like
I did 11.
I
So
I had to I had to call it because it was like, you know, it's either I call it or they call it ambulance. So
facts.
yeah.
Speaking number truth.
Hmm.
Hmm. I just have this urge to duck. If I don't know why. It's feel
Yes.
like
That
some
yeah,
predator stalking me.
Kyle's gonna love that, you know.
I just can't.
Because he ended up, you know, not going as far in the tournament as he had hoped, obviously. And though he was
It's
realistic,
still work.
didn't pick his team to go all the
Mhm.
way. He picked the
Yeah.
right team, you know, like most people pick Florida to win it all. And
Hmm.
congrats to those that were on the Florida bandwagon. They did.
I was on the bandwagon. Okay.
No, that's fine.
I thought,
I'm just saying
thought
is
though.
that they, you know, so many
Oh,
times, and you know, they pulled it out, man. It was close. You know what I mean? It was close. Yeah, I see the
mhm.
Air Force. Yeah, I got an AT4. Let's see, AT4
I
shirt
see
on.
it. Okay. You like those?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm a I'm a big GM fan, man. There's some things I like that they're doing. There's some things they're doing I don't care for.
Speaking of doing, you were saying we was gonna talk about what we used to do. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? We was
Thank,
children.
thanks for
Things we
keeping me on track. It was so basically with this episode we really wanted to focus on chores growing up, right?
Mhm.
I've raised two girls and you're raising still raising one, you
Still
know,
raising one. Late boomer.
late bloomer, yeah, but the now my girls didn't really I don't know, they had some chores but not a lot, really.
Hmm.
They had to keep their chores base was keeping their room tidy. You know, once in a while they would um but my wife, you know, God bless her, she is a dynamo.
Mhm.
I don't know where she gets the energy or even the gumption to do, you know, she was all, I mean, the grass would not grow under that, you know, because she's constantly, right?
Moving.
Constantly
Yeah.
on the move.
Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
just, um,
High energy. That's
she
awesome.
is just amazing to me. But anyways, um, so she did a lot of the stuff that the girls didn't have to worry about. Other than they're, you know, they both did mow the yard, those kind of things. They know how to do all that stuff, you
Your
know.
daughters mowed the yard, is that what I'm hearing?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Hmm.
That's I didn't know that, man.
Yeah, they
I
mowed
never
the.
heard you speak on it.
Yeah, they both did. I mean, our yard was pretty big that, so they had a rider, so they did the ride, you know, run the ride mower, and
Yeah.
yeah, they both did that.
Mm.
Um, but as a child, what the chores did we have as children? I can give you a list of. My
My
mom
list is
always,
short, okay?
yeah,
Like
well,
you
that,
said,
but you still had chores though, right?
yeah. Okay. My chores, I'm gonna briefly run it down. All right. First set of chores was to keep my living quarters clean and tidy, right? And our bathroom. There was a bathroom for me and my brothers. Second chore was to babysit them. I had forgot the main one. That was it. I had to babysit them suckers. I had to prepare meals for them. I had to make sure they clean up. I had to wash dishes. Um, supervising herding cats. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I had to ensure the doors was locked, the windows was locked, whatever, all that kind of stuff. And then
Mm-hmm.
I'll say outside of the house, I had to sweep the garage. We had if you want to call it a garage, a carport, I think that's the proper term, because it didn't have a door that went down. It was you just put your car in it. And then I
Hmm.
had to mow the grass and occasionally do some painting. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Yeah. And I can get into details about that, but I'll let you spill yours and then I'll tell you something about these chores and
Well, I mean,
possibly.
I saw you showed me the home you primarily grew up in as a child that your father built, which
Yeah.
is awesome.
Thanks, man.
Um, that yeah, that wasn't an easy. And that was a push mower too. I imagine you had.
Definitely. A push
Yeah,
lawnmower.
yeah. That same the house I grew up in as a we had two different homes. Well, actually three before I left high school. On my own after high school. Um,
Hmm.
so we lived in the first house until I was in the middle of fourth grade, so around December. I don't know. I was what? How old are you in fourth grade? 9?
Probably 9, maybe going on 10. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have been probably 10.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Start a
and
little bit.
so the first house up until fourth grade, my primary chore was taking care of the yard, take out the chores, I should say, take care of the yard, take out the trash, which was so our house set back behind other houses, so it was I had a long haul to the road to take the
Right.
trash out,
Right. Hmm.
and obviously in the house, all of us in the house had shared the same chores, dusting, vacuum, and dishes, and of course our rooms, obviously.
Hmm. Hmm.
I will tell you, I struggled, according to what I was told or what I remember, was keeping my room up. I don't remember my room being in disarray, if you will, but um, there's always standards that one thinks should be different than others, right? Um, but yeah, we all had them. I had an older sister, or I have an older sister. It's like she was the fire team leader, as you coined it earlier.
Eloquently put.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I can imagine
and it makes
supervising.
perfect sense. As a child, I didn't think about that. It's like you know,
Hmm.
you don't vision yourself as the hell child, if you will. But apparently, I was in that category. I would disagree. You know, my when I was out of line for whatever, got in trouble. My parent, my mom, who was the disciplinarian, my dad was always working, but he would get up
Yeah.
before us and be gone all day, and he'd come
Yeah.
back after dinner.
Yeah, man. About time for y'all bedtime. I gotta
Hmm.
imagine. At some
Yeah,
point, she's like, man, I've been going through hell with these
yeah,
kids.
yeah. But my mom, she was very, in my
Mhm.
opinion, very strict
Really?
about a lot of stuff, which is fine. I don't,
Uh-huh.
I don't think that's a bad thing personally, but
Do you think
um,
she was strict? Give me an example of what you would define as strict.
oh,
You know what I'm saying?
there was zero tolerance on anything, right? If you didn't toe the line,
If you
but
failed to
there
take
would
out
be
the
times
trash,
when
what was
she was, she was a mom. She did what I feel moms should do. There's more than nurturing, and she did that when needed. And
Mhm.
um, but there would be times was like there's zero tolerance. You don't toe the line, there's consequences, and them consequences hurt big
Mhm.
time.
How do you see chores, man? Since we're talking about, I mean, were you helping out around the house slash preparing for adulthood? I mean, did they have that in mind when they issued these chores that I'm preparing you to be a man, preparing you to take care of yourself? Or they was like, look, you need to do this instead of me. What was the what was the
Yeah, the
deal?
latter. You know, yeah,
Well, man, you are really? They don't give a rip what happened to you. I
yeah,
need you to help me with this bull crap that I got to do. Yeah, I got you, man. It's funny. You weren't even
yeah.
trying. That's the tough. That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about right there.
I mean, we all sit there and say, you know, um, we're, we're doing this for your own good kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
No.
they would caveat a little bit.
Yeah. No.
Shoot. Yeah, I think my parents' mindset was very similar. It's like, look, man, my dad was so darn strict, man. I call it petty, man. If there was a rug in the living room that was not straight, okay, he would
Mm-hmm.
notice it. That rug was 2 inches from the couch. Now it's 6. Put it
Mm-hmm.
back where it was at. You know what I'm saying? I remember my brothers and I had plotted, we're gonna have a perfect day. The house is gonna be perfect when they get home,
Yeah.
right?
It better not be. If my mom, if she told you to vacuum or dust or whatever, you better
Yeah,
not miss nothing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, they hate
And
to see me sweep.
and as
They,
a, looking back, right? Looking back,
hmm
it it really taught you certain things. There's a reason, the job don't half-ass it if you were going to do something, right?
hmm
Um, which is funny. My dad, he'll Mickey Mouse fix something just to get it to work.
Desperate
But
times calls for desperate measures.
yeah, exactly. Which at the time I can understand that when your financial limitations
hmm
um, is things were tough, right? It
Right.
was. My dad didn't make a lot of money. My mom didn't work most of the time. She did work. She'd even take us to work. My mom did like
hmm
house, office cleaning and stuff, and she would take us to work with her. And I remember going with her to, she would have us run around to all the offices and get all the garbage cans and,
hmm
and she did the, other things. We were very young, you know. I remember going to Kohler Beer. For those in Pennsylvania, remember Kohler Beer. I used to get to go into it was down there on State Street. We'd go in, the company she worked for, they cleaned the offices, right?
hmm
And I wish I still had them today, but I would get these. She'd bring me home these air cans where a
Yeah.
can went through the system and was filled with nothing but air, or it had a little bit of
Right.
alcohol on the bottom.
Mm.
And this was in 76, 75 time frame. So I'm like 10 years old, right?
hmm
Not to give my age away to anybody, um, but yeah.
Don't
But
worry.
it
People can.
digress. Yeah, I had chores, man. I always had chores. I felt I always had more chores just because I was the oldest boy. I was pushing
hmm
the cutting the yard with a push mower, the real type, before my dad. I remember when he got this lawnmower, an actual powered lawnmower,
hmm
because the grass would get so tall, right? And I'm out
hmm
there. I couldn't have been 5, 6, 7 years old, maybe.
Oh my.
This real mower.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Dang. Yeah, you told me about that in office. I just didn't dawn on me that you was that young
Yeah.
doing this thing. That's something,
'Cause
man.
yeah, and that's it. Probably kind of go. I did yards for a while, other people's yards. A buddy of mine, I did it for about.
hmm
I want to say it was like 6 years. I did it, but
hmm
my memory eludes me sometimes. But I have a disdain for doing yards. I don't like doing it.
Really? I
No.
actually like it, to be honest with you. You
I
know what I'm
mean, when
saying?
I'm doing it, it doesn't bother me, but I would
Mhm.
much rather be doing something else. It's
Yeah,
not like some people love doing that kind of work, and I'm nah, not
yeah,
for me.
I got you. But yeah, man, one of the chores that I thought I shouldn't be doing was vacuuming. That's one of the things. I didn't think it was a manly thing. Okay.
Fair
Because it's
enough.
just the era that I came up in, you know what I'm saying? A vacuum cleaner was designed for not me. Okay.
Yeah,
And so every time that I would vacuum, one of the rugs would get caught up in it.
them little tassels or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, it would suck that thing up, man. I was like, man, I shouldn't even be doing this, right?
yeah.
I didn't have to worry about washing dishes. My mom was like, Um, she didn't like anybody washing. She still don't to this day. I'll wash my own dishes. It's some phobia she got, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Never discussed it with us. But I think the hardest thing was me, man, was supervising my brother and sister, not brother and sister, my two brothers. My one brother is just like you. Okay. He and I always like
That was
it
me
was
and
always
yeah.
something going on, man. This dude, he likes the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was intense rivalry the whole time, right? And something about out there in person, my personality, his personality. I think I would describe yours as like what they call type A, right? I
Yeah.
guess. So me and he's like that. He's type A. I'm type B, I guess. I'm kind of like let's observe and see what's going on, and yada 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 before we make any rash decisions. You know what I'm saying? And but he was like, "Nah, I'm gonna confront you now." Kind of reminds me of a story you just recently told me. But about that chore of supervising that dude, he was like, first of all, you're not qualified to supervise me. You got too many flaws of your own. And he was good at picking them bad boys out, right? So he was like, nah. So fortunate for me, I was bigger and older, so I could exact some physical abuse on that cat. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
What's the age difference between you two?
5 years.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah, that's a
Yeah,
lot,
about
man.
4.5, 5 years. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can.
my sister's like almost what is she, 3 years older than me?
Hmm.
So
Yeah, and you ain't
yeah,
trying to hear that. You're like, you barely older than me, girl.
yeah,
But that's a chore, man, because mom is gonna come home or wherever she's gonna come from her lair and say, like, why isn't this is I heard this all the time. I got threatened with demotion. I'm gonna put him in charge. Oh shoot. You're gonna put this guy. Hey, you remember that movie Aliens? That dude was like, put her in charge, man. It was like she was Sigourney Weaver was like, yo, this girl survived down here on this planet for weeks without any adult supervision and da 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 da. And he was like, well, put her in charge, man. So that was I'm like, you gonna put this dude in charge? You're gonna demote me and put him girl, okay, you do that.
yeah,
She never did it. She just threatened me with it. It was humiliating.
yeah. Because your APR was
Yeah. It was
will reflect.
what they call it when you're substandard. I can't think of it. Yeah, it was a referral EPR.
Yeah, you got a referral. Yeah,
Yeah, man. I'm like, man, supervision was, I don't want to tell this dude what to do.
yeah.
But yeah, I had to supervise him. And I got another brother that's younger, and them two would clash all. The middle brother fought everybody. You know what I'm saying? He fought me, he fought the little brother.
Mm,
The little brother was, I don't even know what was going on with him. He was savage at best, okay?
mm,
He had a habit of like I was gonna tell this brief story. He was playing with his pet, this little rubber alligator that you could get from one of those 7-Eleven. They had a little rubber alligator that had a long tail. So he
mm.
was making a fight, G.I. Joe, and the tail hit himself in the face. I observed this. Now my middle brother was asleep on the couch. So he walked over to him with the alligator, holding it by the head, and just swiped him across the face with it. It was brutal. It was savage, right? I guess he wanted to inflict. He wanted to. Hey, was it me?
Yeah.
Was it me? The only one. So anyway, my brother, my middle brother, you woke up, looked around to observe what was happening, and it was coming to him bit by bit. Okay, I was hit in the face with an alligator, and so when it finally dawned on him what had happened. He punched him about 3 or 4 times, and then he started. I suffered that. I was like, "You should be doing what you're doing, okay?" But when he twisted his arm behind his back and tried to make him scratch the back of his head with it, that was too far. So
Mm.
I hopped up and sent a couple to his dome. Let him go. And so anyway, he and I started. He tried to fight me back. Like I said, I was older than him. He was really no match. Yeah, the only reason it was any match because of my grace and mercy.
Hmm.
I knew if I hurt him, I would get hurt by some bigger people. So I had to kind
Oh
of,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
go in on him. Yeah.
But yeah,
So
that's
so yeah, man.
chores.
I know.
That
So
was,
going back to
that
your
was,
chore, don't take your sister chore lightly. I would like to hear her what she had to do with
yeah,
you.
obviously, I don't know because we don't really ever talk about that. We don't really
Mhm.
talk at all, anyways, unless
Mhm.
something's going on in the family. Then it's like we get together and then we'll, come to an accord on what the plan is.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I don't know. It's kind of our family dynamic is really weird. We don't really. Uh, we're scattered all over the country, right? Well, my one sister still lives in Canada. My older sister, lives in Vegas, of all
Yeah. It's pretty
places.
spread out. Hmm.
Yeah, my younger brother, he's not right in where we grew up, but he's very nearby, like 50 miles away.
Hmm.
But
Wow.
yeah, but
So,
yeah, we always had chores, man. We all had chores. My mom tried different things to help motivate us. But the
mhm.
only thing that ever seemed to stick around was you don't do it, you get punished, or if you did something wrong, you get punished. Punishment was always the standard, if you will.
Hey man, that's the way this world works, right?
Yeah,
Unfortunately, like if I don't do something, there's some repercussions behind not doing it.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? You
yeah,
know,
definitely.
some kind of repercussion. I ain't going to work today. If I
Yeah,
continue that cycle,
well,
it's got,
it's just this thing that we do, right? As humans, reward and punishment, right?
yeah,
It
it's
seems
ingrained,
to
man.
it seems to work.
Yeah. Hey, like you know that guy at the gas station, right?
he, that guy,
He abused his position, right?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He wasn't considerate to others. He didn't follow the unwritten rule, like when you finish pumping your gas, move out the way. So there was
Well, there's
repercussions for his action.
yeah, it's some kind of there's some etiquette. I couldn't think of the word when I did. So if those that don't know, I did a little episode on my about that on Drive Time.
Yeah,
It's kind of vehicle
you got
related.
time.
Yeah, this guy, I couldn't, the words were not coming to me when I was talking about it. Was the guy, there's certain etiquette, right, in life, right?
Hmm.
Treat
Hmm.
others as you would like others to treat you, right?
Hmm.
And he was just being, the word I couldn't think of was inconsiderate, right, of others that
Hmm.
were needing to do the same thing.
Right.
It had no bearing, and I could tell by his actions and reaction, he didn't give a flip until I got out of the car.
Good F word.
Yeah, he didn't give a nothing, right? Now, because I even tried it as like, dude, can you move your vehicle? You're hogging up the one pump that's available, and you filled your vehicle and then decide to go into and leave your vehicle at the gas pump and then go inside? What the hell? It just, I mean, that just ate at me in the wrong way. And I don't like the way I handled it, reacted to it, if you will. But I had the support of my spouse. She was like, you know, which was probably not a good thing because that will put me in a whole nother tailspin, if you will. And I don't like, I've gotten mad at things before and just destroyed things, right? And I felt like I could have easily gotten to that point where the law would have been called and I probably would have been in some chrome bracelets. And an ambulance probably would have been called, you
You
know.
probably would have called the law on yourself because there would have been nobody there to witness. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? You just broke this dude in half.
there was plenty of witnesses because they heard me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just the whole thing, man. This guy, um, he he was
Forgive
from
me,
out of
man.
town.
Uh-huh.
He had a blue plate with white lettering. I'll say that. There's not many states that have
I
that.
hope they do that watching the show.
Hmm?
Oh my God. I wonder
Yeah.
what story he's telling his folks. Man, I went down south and there was this dude down there. He was so irate, but
Yeah.
simply because I was parked at the gas pump. He was
Hmm.
probably a Trump supporter from hell.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
sure. Yeah. He was definitely from not around here. You know.
Oh my God, dude, this is funny as heck. Yeah, yeah, hey,
Yeah.
listeners, man, listen, y'all getting it damn rated. What's below rated G? Okay. He's giving y'all the romper room version.
I
The
I
version
would.
he gave me at work, oh my God, water was squirting out of my eyes, literally. It's hollering. I didn't,
Oh
it's
yeah.
just the situation and knowing this dude. But I do feel, I mean, I get it, man. It was a tense situation. The dude didn't have any consideration and
Yeah.
he probably was oblivious, man. That's the crazy thing about it. He was
I
just
was
like, yeah,
going.
man.
Like I said, I could have ripped his face off. That's how
Yeah.
mad I was.
You imagine that dude walking around with a face.
Over something trivial like that, because I can go from like 0 to 100 like right
Yeah,
now. I
yeah.
don't because I know,
Consequences, baby.
yeah, things can go bad real quick. Um, but that was that kind of put a sour note to a really good weekend that we had,
Yeah, yeah.
and then really to
Yeah.
maybe another to put a little icing on the cake, if you will, or vinegar in my sugar, whatever. I drive like a mile down the road and the fuel was like 20 cents cheaper a gallon. I was like, really?
Oh man, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
I was like,
Wow.
so
Son of a
yeah.
craziness, man. But sorry, hey, man. Probably shouldn't have brought it up. I ain't want to bring you down. You was on a high. But it is totally hilarious. If you guys know Wayne, man. For the most part, he's under control. He thinks before he speaks. Unlike me, I just say stuff. But and I don't say offensive stuff. I just say stuff, right? But he's pretty controlled. He measured in what he say and all that kind of stuff. But he let the darn volcano, the volcano erupted. Man, I
Yeah,
wasn't happy about what happened to him, but it was like it was just funny to hear what
yeah.
the innermost thoughts of Wayne Craig.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
They
I
went into
don't
the sanctuary, baby. They wanted to find out what was behind the veil. This it is.
well, it's just the that the thing about it and that let some, this, subhuman get to me is just, you know, it's
Yeah, probably.
indicative, but you'll find that in a lot of places, right? It isn't just um something that I experienced. You can go anywhere.
Yeah.
Um, I go up north, and I ain't saying all people that live in the north are that way. That's not the case, but it's people down here. They they're usually they'll keep to themselves for the most part, right? But if you said hi to them, they'll say hi back or whatever,
Right.
in most cases. And if they don't, they usually ain't from around here. Now, I ain't from around here. I've lived here for 27 years almost. You know, that's a long time and so I see how um, people are. They're very tight knit, right? If you ain't from around here, they don't let you into the inner circle, if you will, but they're polite to you, right? But they ain't calling you
Yeah.
over for. They're not going to call you over for dinner,
Nah, they polite though. I would admit that. When I went to my first assignment, because I'm from Georgia, I just exhibited that. Hey, hey, hey. I was just speaking to everybody. They're like, this
Mhm.
dude is a psychopath. You don't know me. Why are you
Yeah,
talking to me? Why are
yeah,
you speaking to me? Why are you waving at me? You know what I'm saying? It was
yeah.
weird to
It's like,
them.
yeah, yeah, and it's. Now I was telling you, in North Dakota, they kept to themselves, right? They weren't in your business. But if you
Yeah.
needed something from them as a neighbor or whatever, they would get the shirt off their back, you know,
Hmm. Yeah.
because they know you're in the same hell and hole, if you will, than everybody else, right?
Hey,
So,
you probably like, hey, what kind of chores did that guy have when he was growing up? Look at he's acting weird.
yeah, yeah,
That's
it's
what the guy at the
crazy.
pump probably thought. What kind of chores did this cat have, man? It affected him in an adverse way. He's been out of shape. You can't wait 2 minutes for me to buy
Mm,
my groceries
yeah.
after pumping gas. Oh
But
my
it's like,
God. It's good.
it's I like to equate it to like uh football, right? I think my team,
Hmm.
they're all jack
Hmm.
wagons on me. Although there's some very
Hmm.
good people on them teams, but they're on the wrong team, right?
Right.
It's sort of like, the whole Democrat Republican, right? Which is to me
Hmm.
the line is so blurred anymore, you don't really know it's
Yeah.
gone to being more liberal or conservative, right?
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I
it's
just wish people would just do the right thing. But that's the problem. They won't. So, and when you
no,
got to a place where you got good people, they're good Democrats out there. Okay,
oh,
there's
absolutely,
good Republicans out there, but no one they can't afford to acknowledge the truth. If it's the truth coming from the other team, I can't support this truth, and that's
yeah.
wrong.
Even though they
You
were
know,
saying the same thing 10 years ago, right?
you're right. Same
You
thing.
know, get on the we'll get on the politics here a little bit, which is probably not necessarily the case, but there's one key factor: they've taken God out of their lives, right? For the most part, for a lot of these people, you
Yeah,
know.
I mean, yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, God taking him out of the equation. I mean, that was the measuring stick at one point in this country. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? And that would keep folks kind of balanced. But now that you remove that, you know, truth is relevant. Truth is what they call it? Yeah, relative, not relevant. It's relative. That's my truth. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? My
yeah,
truth, my own personal truth.
yeah,
It's true for me. What's true for me might not be true for you. You know what I'm saying? They start digging at
yeah,
stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I can go to the
yeah,
bank and get
absolutely.
ten
You
thousand
know,
dollars out. That's not true for me. Can't do that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, whatever, dude. He's bending
yeah.
some stuff, but I get it.
Well, you see
Yeah.
it, every day, right? Just that little scenario where
Mhm.
just be considerate of others is really um, it's lost because
Yeah.
it's all about me. I've seen that a
But think
million
about this though,
times.
man. That everybody don't have. I'm gonna slightly defend this dude. Everybody don't have. They don't have that background, man. They don't have that culture. You know what I'm saying?
No.
And we have to try to be mindful of that. Everybody, they grew up different. They don't even know. They didn't even, he didn't know around these parts, we don't park at
Mm-hmm.
the gas station for hours at the pump while a line forms in the back. Okay. We don't do that. Where
Mm-hmm.
he's from, they do that. Apparently, they do that. You know what I'm saying? But maybe we should put up a sign, pump your gas and move. Okay. You know what
Oh
I'm
yeah, but you should.
saying?
Well, there's a reason there isn't a sign, right? Because 90% of people know that's the way it should be.
Yeah,
You don't need a
most
sign
know that.
if you got some etiquette, you know.
Yeah, yeah. If you don't,
Hey,
but if
thanks
you
for
don't,
watching. We'll catch you guys on the next episode. Hey, if you got a comment, leave it down there. Let me know what your experiences were, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.